Okay, I'm back with another video. Now, I usually do videos on smartphones and smartwatches and other gadgets and how to use all those kind of things and all the features and customizations you can do. But I also have several Kindles, probably more than I should have, and I do a fair amount of reading, and I figured maybe it's a good time to go over some tips and tricks on the Kindle. So I'm going to show you how to use everything on here, from beginner tips to the most advanced tips that are available on the Kindle. So I'll go through all the features on this thing, and a couple of them are a little hidden, so maybe you didn't know about them, and maybe that would be helpful. So if you're able to, try to stick around to the end of the video and see if I have any good tips for you. First off, this is the Kindle Signature Edition Paperwhite, which does have a couple extra features that some others don't, but 95 or 98% of this stuff is going to be the same through almost all the Kindles. So there's basically 5 screen menus that you interact with on this thing. There's the home screen, there's the library, which you can access 2 different ways. There's the setting menu, which you could also access 2 different ways. There's the quick panel on the top. Then there's also a menu that's only available when you're actually inside a book reading. So this is the home screen. So the home screen is basically just Amazon trying to sell you some more books and also trying to make it easy for you to buy books. So this is your library on the top, and then there's different categories on here. Amazon will recommend books based on, previous books that you read, things that you might like, and, things like that. So you can click on them and buy them right here if you'd like. You can also hit this little cart up here. And then basically it's very similar. It gives you the same thing, books based on reading. This was in that other screen there, and it just gives you some other ones here, that the other recommendations basically. And then you can click on here and you could browse through different categories and find out what you like, and then again you can buy it right through the Kindle if you want. Then you could also search up here. You could search for a new book, just type in the author or the book title or anything like that, and that will pop up right there, making it nice and easy for you. And you're in the home screen because it's underlined there. Then this is if you wanted to go right back to the book that you were reading, you can click in the middle. And then also you can click on here to go to the library, and you could also click up here to go to the same library. And then you have a settings menu on here. This settings menu is the same as in the home screen, and it's the same in your library here. Same thing there. And again, you could also go to the cart, same way you did before. You can go to the search bar the same way you did before. And then this is your library. These are all the books that you have. And if you click up here, you could filter them. So if you want to filter them based on these options, and maybe you don't have to scroll through, 1,000 books, you can kind of find it a little quicker. And then if you click right here, you can sort through your titles a little easier. Again, if you're looking for a specific author or something like that, you can do it that way. And then this is a new option that they added to most of the Kindles. You could have all your books listed here, or you could have the collections. You can see the books are listed there, but if you click collections, now this is what you got right here. Now it's just grouped together. So you make these collections and you could add whatever you want on here, and as many as you want. And if you want to add a collection, then you just click on right here and you get to add a collection. So if you mark it as a favorite, you could make this so it's the favorite collections are a little easier to find. So I'll show you how to do that later. Right now we're just going to cancel this. I'm going to go back to my usual setting here, so we just have all the books listed on there. So let's get into this 3-dot menu up here. So reading lists are reading lists that you created through the Goodreads app, and that's owned by Amazon actually, and it's just another way for you to kind of sort books and find new books that you might want to buy. Goodreads here, if you click on that, that takes you to a very watered down version of the app, but it's kind of useless. So just go to the actual website, and it's much easier to scroll through everything and organize everything as you would want to. I wouldn't really use this for anything. Amazon Kids, this is where you create accounts for your children, and then you could sort what books they get and, put in what books are appropriate for them and things like that. And going down the list here, the web browser, that's kind of useless on the Kindle, so I don't even know why they have that. Maybe if you were stuck on a deserted island and you had Wi-Fi for some reason and this is the only device you had, maybe you could use it, but otherwise it is definitely not worth it. Household sharing, this is what I was talking about, where you could have, again, 2 adults on here and 4 kids. So this is where you could just basically share all your books, and for the kids, you could decide which books you could send to them for them to look at, and then they could actually just read it on their Kindle, which is kind of cool. So let's get into settings here. So if you go into here, this is basically where all the settings of the device are, and this is where you were able to adjust everything. So your account, basically not too much to do here, personal info and things like that. This is the household account. This is where everyone's on. And again, you could adjust, if you click on here, this is one of my kids here, and then you could adjust their library and, things like that and see their progress, if you'd like. So the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, not much to this one. If you click on here, that just tells you about your Wi-Fi here, and you could delete one and add one if you want. So the Bluetooth is only if you want to connect your headphones to this so you can listen to audiobooks, that you can't connect any other devices to it. Then we're going to go into device options. So this one here, this is actually a cool feature. This is only, not available on all the Paperwhites, but the display cover. So basically the book you're reading will show, instead of a lock screen ad that you would get on Amazon, you would actually get the cover of the book that you're reading, which is kind of just a little thing, but I kind of think it's cool. I like that. And this is the device info. This just tells you what software update you're on. This is display settings. This is where you can adjust the warm light. Again, this is not available on all the devices. So any Kindle device that has the amber lights on here, you could adjust. Some of them just have the cool lights, the bluish kind of light that's, that's fine for most people. But this is just an added benefit here. So if you click on here, you get the warm schedule, and this is all grayed out now because I have it off. If you turn it on, now, again, it could be automatic, so based on your location and the sunrise and sunset, Kindle knows when it is, and it will adjust the warmness of it as the day goes on. It gets more warm and it's cooler during the day. You could do it manually, where you could just set it the way you want and at which time, and then you could also customize how warm you want it to be. I'm just going to turn it off for now. Then the night light, this basically, you can turn this on, and basically as the night goes on and you're reading, the Kindle will just make the light just slightly dimmer as time goes on. So as you get used to it, it gets a little dimmer. I didn't really notice so much of a change on this one because I usually keep it pretty dim, but if you did have it pretty bright, you would probably notice it getting a little dimmer as the night went on. Passcode, so this is just if someone steals your device, you could put a password code on there so that they can't use it. That will teach them. And you could restart your device here, reset, and then advanced options. So let's go on to this one. So this is device time. You don't really need to update that. So this is the home and library link. So let me show you that. So for this one, if you have a series of books, you can group the series together so that it will just be listed together, which is nice. So that's a nice feature that they added for that. Now collections, those are the collections that I showed you in the beginning, where you have several books in there, and you could have any collection that you want. You could have your read books, your unread books, your fiction, nonfiction, workbooks, whatever you want to do. And if you click on here, it just gives you some different options. Again, you could have only the collections view, which is what I showed you before, and then the individual books are not listed. You could have your favorites. So if you click on this, then your favorite collections were going to show up even if you don't have it in collections mode, basically. So that's kind of cool. And then also you could have here your collections. All your collections will show in the library along with your regular individual books. So you could set it the way you want to. And then you could also do that for if you have a lot of audiobooks on here. So for your audiobooks, you could have them show up on your library and home screens, or you could have it so that they don't show up and only show up when you actually filter for them. So it's up to you to decide how much you use them and how accessible you want them to be. Whisper Sync for books. This basically, I'll just click on here to show you what it is. This is what it does here, and basically if you turn it off, then you lose some features, but the biggest one you're going to lose is that last one. I like this one, so if I'm reading a book on this Kindle, and then I go to work and I'm reading the book on my Kindle app, on my phone or my tablet or something like that, it will automatically sync it if I have it enabled, so I don't have to guess at what page I finished up or what chapter I was at. I just open the app, and then it will take me right to the last page that I read, which is kind of cool. But again, you could disable that if you want. Power saving, this just, you could save some battery when it's off. It just takes a little longer to boot up, which is really not that big of a deal. And then privacy, you could update your policy on that one if you'd like. Okay, so let's get out of this. That was the device options. This is the reading options here. Not too much here. So the page refresh is basically the whole screen refreshes with every turn, which some people like. It does use a little extra battery, and it does, kind of give you a little disruption in between page turns. If you didn't have this on, I think it automatically refreshes every 6 pages or something like that. So if the page refreshes after each page, it gives you a little disruption that you might notice, but then the fonts and everything will be just a little bit bolder and clearer because there's no leftover anything from the last page. So vocabulary builder, this one's actually pretty cool. So you can turn this on, and I'll show you what you do with it later. Language and dictionaries is there. Accessibility, if you click on here, this is the voice screen reader. So with this one, it will actually just read out the menus that you're tapping, which is kind of nice. But it only works if you have your headphones linked to this because there's no speaker on this device. And then invert black and white. Before they had dark mode on the Kindles, I used to go into this, and then you do it, and it gives you the dark mode. Same thing. Then parental controls, again, this is where you control what books your kids get and, things like that. And the help and user guides, we don't need to go into there. So now let's actually go into a book, and let me show you a couple of things here. Now, one that you probably know about, but you could just, pinch it, and you can make the screen bigger or smaller. The pinch doesn't work quite as quick as a regular tablet. Then over here, this page thing here, if you click it, you could change the different options that are available and the different information that's read there, or you could have it gone, and then you could do that. And this word-wise, I'll show you that in a minute, what that is. But for now, we just tap on, you're in a book, you just tap on the top here, and then there's a bunch of different new menus that are only available when you're in a book. So the one that's easiest is right here. This is where you can control basically your layout and what's going on. So you can make a custom theme if you want. This is the fonts. You can see what you can change there. So you can see what happens with the margins and the spacing here, all those things you can adjust. Then if you hit more here, there's a couple extra different features here. So read in progress that you could click on here. These are the options that you could have, but you don't really need to have that because you could just toggle it like I just did. You just tap on the side here and it will show you the different information. Show the clock. I usually like to have the clock showing there. Book mentions, self-explanatory here. About this book, again, just tells you all the information that's about this book. You could have that on and off. Popular highlights, so when you're reading something and you come up to something a lot of people have highlighted, you'll see it and it'll say, 500 people like this passage or whatever. It just might, I don't know, maybe make you pay attention to it a little bit more. Maybe it's an important topic or something like that. Highlight menu, so when you do highlight something, it will give you a little menu of the things that you can do. Page turn animation. This is not available on all Paperwhites, but for this one it is, and it gives you just a slight inkling of an animation. Really nothing too dramatic, but it's there if you like that. Then this is word-wise. So let's go ahead and turn this on, and this is basically going to show you unfamiliar words. And I'll show you, it's good and bad. So, I'll turn it on here so we could show you what it looks like. And then we're done with this. We could just hit anywhere on the page and you get back to your book that you're reading. So now the word-wise, let me just show you here. So if we click on it, you could have it so it's hidden, so, it's just off right now, so you could toggle it on and off, which is kind of cool, because sometimes this is actually a little annoying. But if you hit show, you can see what happens to the layout. You see how the spacing now has to increase, because they have the words that it thinks you may not know, and it's got to put a little, kind of definition next to the word so you can see it. And that just kind of breaks up the page quite a bit, and I really don't like that so much. But then also, just to let you know here, you could do more hints, so then basically simpler words will be shown, or you could just do fewer hints. So then only, like, you can see how it got rid of one there, and then this comes back. So basically, it will only give you bigger words that it thinks you may not know, and that's okay, but again, it changes the font so much that I don't like it. So I'll hit hide there. Let's go back to the menu here. If we click on this, this is basically just like a table of contents, so you can go through there if you want to go back to the next chapter, or, something like that. You could skip around real easy. You just got to click it, and you'll go to the next chapter, chapter 2 there, see? Let me go back, we can go right there, just like that. Then if also you click on this, then if you look here, just popular highlights that other people have highlighted. So you can go through here, and again, if you want to kind of, if you read a chapter or something like that, and then you could just see what other people thought were important, it just refreshes your memory or something, if you like that. Now clicking on here, this just gives you your notes. You don't have any there yet, so I didn't highlight anything, so there's nothing there. Then here, this is kind of cool. This is basically you saving a page. So I already saved the page here. I saved page 4 before, and now it's asking me if I want to save page 5. So this is great. Maybe there's a map on page 3 or something like that, and you just kind of want to reference it every once in a while, which is, something that you can do. You can save a bunch of pages here, like page 5, I could just save it. And now when I click on here, now it shows me 2 pages. And now this is that last page, right? Which is kind of cool. Now, if I wanted to look back on page 4, again, this is if I was on page 100 or something like that, and I want to go look at page 3, I wouldn't want to be scrolling back and forth. But if I have this here, it just shows up here. And again, if this was a map, or maybe it was a list of characters or something important that I wanted to kind of reference every once in a while, there it is there. And then I could just go back to here. And then if I want to go back to the page I'm on, I just click back there. So kind of a cool feature there. And again, you could have a whole bunch of pages saved there if you'd like. The search feature here, this is just if you want to search for another book that you want to buy. I don't know why it's there. And then here, this is another settings menu, which is actually kind of cool. So about this book, this shows up when you first open the book, but you can click on it now. So it just gives you a summary, the time, some passages here, gives you other books by the authors if you really like them, and then also the books that were mentioned in here, maybe ideas for your next book, right? And back into the settings here, X-ray, this is actually a kind of cool thing too. So if you look here, and this is notable clips. So these are just kind of important passages that are in the book here. And then if you look here, this is kind of the map of them all throughout the book. And then if you click on the arrow right here, you just go to the next dot that's there. So that's kind of cool. And then if you go here, if there's interesting characters or something like that, you click here. These are the characters that are in the book. So you come across a character that maybe you forgot about and it was in the beginning of the book or something like that, you could find him here, and then you could just find, oh yeah, that's that person, and you get an idea of what's going on. Then also terms here. So these are basically just terms that are used in the book that you may not know what they are, and you can just find out what it is. So if they're using something a lot, maybe it's a historical book or something like that, and they're using a term that you're not familiar with, again, this is where you would find it. And then if there's any images in the book, and it will list them all over here where they are in the book, and then you can click the arrow to go to the next one. So again, if there's a lot of maps or stuff like that to find, and you can go through here, and again, you can remember what it was that you were trying to find. And then if you want to get out of here, there we go. And then we hit the settings again. So that was the X-ray. Let's go to Vocabulary Builder. And this is kind of something that's kind of a neat feature here. So all the words that you highlight that you didn't know what they were and you looked them up, they'll show up on this. And then this is all the words that you could learn about now. So if you click on it, it'll kind of give you the definition. So if you mastered it, you can click on this and it goes into a little category, another category, or you could just delete it off your book there. And then you could hit usage, and then it just tells you, gives you an example of that. And let me show you for the mastered. You can click here. So these are the words that you mastered, and then these are the words that you're learning. And you can kind of go through back and forth through these things if you'd like. Then you can also do like flashcards. This is kind of cool. You can go to the next one. You can go through them quick if you want. And then again, you can see, the definition. There you go. So kind of neat. Then we could exit flashcards. Then, again, this is broken down by words, but you could also break it down by books. Maybe there was a, very interesting book or a textbook that you're reading or something like that. And you click on here, and then it will give you all the, you pick the book, and then it will tell you all the words you didn't know in that book. So, again, kind of just a neat feature. Let's get into the settings again. This syncs you to the furthest page that you read. So if it didn't do it automatically, maybe you were off the Wi-Fi or you have the Whisper Sync not enabled, then you want to turn it on, and maybe you were reading in your Kindle app and you read 100 pages or something like that, and now you're going back to your Kindle. You can click on this, and then it will find what your latest page was. Disable the touchscreen. I really think that's just a feature on the Kindle Oasis, because there's no way to turn a page once you disable the touchscreen. So the Oasis has the buttons that you could use. Then you could share a book. This goes to the Goodreads app. Now, another thing on the reading page here, we're in the book, we just click on the top there, and then we get this down here. So you could have it where it's just listed as it is here, or I could open it up and get 9 pages there. This is cool if you want to reflect back on something that was, 20 pages ago, and you don't want to keep clicking, 20 times to get to the page. You can go through here, and you could just hit, twice, and you'll be back to where you'd find the page that you're looking at. And it has all the pages listed here. So if you're looking for a map or a picture or something like that, you could find it very quickly doing this. Then also you could do this little bar here. You can go through anywhere in the book. So if you're like, well, I think it's like at a page 100 or something like that. Well, you can go all the way up there, and you can go up a couple, down a couple, find out what page you were looking at. Then you could, go through it and look at it. And then you could just go back to where you were. There it is. Now it says, if you want to go back to that last place you were at, you just hit that one. That was page 37 I was at. And you could do the same thing with this. Again, you can move all the way out here, and that's a little page. That's page 211. So if that's the one I was looking for, great. If not, again, I could just go back here, and I go back to the beginning, and then I just hit X, and I'm back to the book that I'm reading. Okay, so I hope this video wasn't too long. So it's just one last thing for me to show you here. So there's a lot of little features here that people might be aware of and haven't been using, and I think all of them are kind of a little important to certain people. So I hope some of those are helpful for you. But the last thing is when you're in a book, you just tap the top here, and then we tap down, and this is the quick toggle screen here. So obviously you can read what these things are. You can sync your stuff. You can go to dark mode really quick right here. This gets you into that settings menu, which is the one we went through before. And then if you want to get back into the toggle here, that's that. And then this is where you could quickly change your brightness. You could change the warmth very quickly. That's what the warmth does. Then you can move it down here. And again, you could also do the auto brightness. Not every Kindle has this. So if it's very bright out, then the screen brightness will get very bright, and then inside automatically it will get dimmer if you're in a dimmer light. So that's kind of just a cool feature there. Sometimes it adjusts it a little too quickly, and you kind of notice it a little bit. And if you don't like it, again, you just toggle it off, and then you can pick the setting that you like. So I think that's just about all of it. If there's anything I missed on the Kindle tips, please let me know. And I hope that was helpful for some people. And if it was, please consider subscribing, liking, sharing. Everyone has a Kindle nowadays, right? So go ahead and share this with them, and hopefully they'll get some tips out of this. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.